32 is actually my lucky number. It's the number that I had in hockey, and it's just my favorite number. And it happens to be Jonathan Quick's number. I mean, there's a lot of 32 things happening, but it's a 30-second live hangout, which is amazing. And like all live hangouts, I'm going to be doing a workshop. Today is going to be focused on percussive rhythm techniques, which I'm really excited about because I'm getting a ton of questions about it lately. And I also have some very special announcements. There are, I have some, how should I say? I have some special guests that I can't wait to introduce to you guys today. And with all that being said, I mean, just sit tight, grab your favorite beverage, get ready for just an awesome live hangout. There's going to be a ton of firsts on this hangout, so please stay tuned. I mean, usually when somebody says there's going to be a first, it's only one thing. But we decided to just pack this full of firsts. Some because of emergency measures, others because it was planned all along. And I'll let you be the judge of which is which. So that being said, let's. Are we being heard? Okay.
Levi? Oh yeah, everybody says looks good and sounds good.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Which is great.
Which is our new cables.
Last month was a little hairy.
Yeah,
because we had really thin. Cables, and now we have thick cables.
Yes, correct. So. Levi special ordered some thick cables, and it's made our lives apparently a lot easier and less hairy. Yours less hairy, mine just about the same.
So David Martin says, "Hi Maggie." My big question is, can you guys see Maggie down there?
It looks like the cat.
No, the cat's out of the bag.
So yeah, we're not really sure how this works, but Maggie is on with us, and you know, can you see her there?
If you can, well, I should just say this. So one of the secrets is out.
Okay, everybody says yeah. Okay, so
so the secret's out. Everybody, please say hi to Maggie. This is the first live hangout that Maggie, our community manager, is joining us. So I'm super pumped to introduce you guys live to Maggie. She's here. She sounds great. Her video feed is fantastic. If you guys see me dead looking over the camera, it's because I can see a screen up here. I'm not just like going off in outer space. So welcome, Maggie. She's gonna be tuning in a little bit later when we talk about small wins. I want you guys to start thinking about those, of course. But I think just because I'm holding a guitar and this is the part of the show where I do a guitar workshop, I should probably just do that because that's what we do. That's the routine. It's very hardwired routine that we have. So that being said, let's talk about percussive rhythm. And this came from a question I got via email. It was about a week or so ago. And it was a question about a course. And the course was, if I had any ideas to do a course on percussive rhythm. And I have a whole notebook of ideas on courses. Percussive rhythm is in there. And I thought, let's do a live workshop on percussive rhythm because I think it's something that you guys can incorporate in your playing immediately. And it just takes some getting used to the technique. I think when you see somebody play percussive rhythm, a lot of fingerstyle guys do it, guys and gals for that matter. And I think there's this aura, this element of mystery around it. And how do they get these sounds? And I'm not talking about the crazy tapping, drummy kind of stuff. I'm just talking about the basic let's see. That kind of choppy percussive rhythm. That's what I'm talking about today. And that's what you're going to learn today. And again, I think when you see it, it's kind of like, how do they make that sound? How is it such a dependable, consistent sound? And that certainly was my question when I first saw the technique being done. That being the case, let's walk through it right now. And the first step to this whole percussive rhythm is that you get the percussive part down. It's really crucial to understand how the noise is made and what you're actually physically doing. You're not slamming on the guitar. This isn't something where you're going to damage your guitar. This isn't something that you're going to hit the guitar with any force other than literally bringing your hands onto the strings. The whole goal here is to get the strings to actually hit the frets kind of above the body, right? So I'm pushing down on the strings here, and that's what's giving it that kind of metallic tone. I'm not doing anything fancy, anything special with my hand. I'm just kind of holding my hand as if I was finger picking, if I were finger picking, and just kind of using the thumb as the leader, just dead weight into the strings. Okay, that's the first step, is just getting that dialed in. Now, of course, we're not making any chords or anything, so it's kind of funny to just sit there and do this. But it's really necessary because you want this to sound good and you want to be consistent. It should be a nice solid tone, nice solid strike, if you will. Think of it like drums, but with less force. So now that we have that, let's look at the basic, what I'll call it slap rhythm. This is not an official term. It's something that I just needed to do to name this thing something so I could talk about it. So let's just grab a C chord. And what you're going to do is with your thumb on the A string, index finger on the D, middle on the G, and ring finger on the B, you're going to pluck all those strings at once. And then you're going to do a percussive strike. All right, so it's 1, 2, 1, 2. It's a great way to start. And when I do that percussive strike, my fingers are lining up with the same strings that they're quote unquote assigned to. Okay, so there's nothing fancy going on with the picking hand. It's just dead weight dropping on the strings. So to kind of really get into the groove here is going to be all quarter notes. So you'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fretting hand is just holding down the chord, nothing fancy happening there. And the picking hand is just going pluck, strike, pluck, strike, pluck, strike. Okay, so that's step 1. Or I guess that would be step 2, really. Step 3 would be varying the rhythm up a little bit. We're not actually going to vary it up too much. We're going to put an eighth note. We're going to split that first quarter note into 2 eighth notes. So our thumb will hit the bass note, and then index, middle, and ring will hit the other 3 strings. So it'll go 1, and still going to strike on the 2. All right, so we started with just this. Then we went to quarter notes with a chord. Now we split that first note. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And we can even split the percussive note as well, meaning that we'd have a kind of that initial downbeat and then deaden the strings with your fretting hand and pluck up with your index, middle, and ring. That's kind of I'll say the pinnacle. We've filled every available slot, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that would sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Wait, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's kind of the basic slap rhythm. There are other alterations which I'll mention, but really the whole progress I want you to go through, if this interests you, is start with the basic movement. Bring quarter notes in. We'll do this a little bit faster. Split the actual sounding notes, the notes you're playing, into eighth notes. And then play all eighth notes. That's the basic slap rhythm. Now, there's other ways you can introduce percussion into your playing, and I'm just going to touch on those a little bit because the focus today was really going to be slap rhythm. But while you're finger picking, you can actually deaden notes and still get very good rhythmic drive and bring in this percussive element. And one of the ways that I like to do it is think of a pattern where you're going to do a pinch, thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index. Okay, that's the basic pattern. Pinch between thumb and middle finger, thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index. So as you just play that straight, it would sound like this. Now what I'm going to do is actually make the 2 and beat, the thumb index, the first one that we encounter, I'm going to actually deaden that. So it'll go 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and what you get, I'm not going to count with this so you can hear it. What you get is kind of this subtly percussive element that still keeps the rhythmic momentum, like this. Now, it takes a little bit more finagling on your fretting hand because I'm actually laying my pinky to deaden the strings, but you get the idea. And this is a great way to introduce percussion. If you're not into the kind of that slap rhythm, it's a great way to introduce percussion. Think of your chord like a button. And when you want percussion when you want a percussive sound, just lift up pressure so the strings are dead. You can do it for whole measures at a time if you want. So it's another way to introduce percussion that is maybe even one step prior to the slap rhythm. But ultimately, when you get used to this technique, you can integrate it in a way that really livens up any arrangement. I'll use Freight Train as an example, and I'll use that slap rhythm. I'll just do the first part. So it's you can see how once you get comfortable with the technique, you almost sonically hear where it fits in the whole picture. And then as you get, again, more comfortable with the technique, you can start integrating it into your kind of standard fare, standard songs that you know, and just playing kind of general backup. So that is percussive rhythm in a nutshell. Hopefully that answers any questions that any of you may have had about it, or maybe even introduces you to a new style. And speaking of questions, Levi,
Yeah.
I'd like to prompt the viewers to, if they have any questions on this topic, please ask them. Levi will see them.
We've got a couple.
Okay. Are they difficult?
I don't know. I'll have to just read them off. Some comments about connectivity and bandwidth issues. Just want to let everybody know that, there's not much we can do. Thanks for your patience. And it actually could clear up once you're not playing guitar and stuff. And we'll just hope for the best.
Gotcha.
But, I wish there was a magic button we could hit that would fix that.
Certainly would rock if we had one
So
of those.
Vic G says, would the percussive stroke be like a snare drum in a basic rhythm pattern?
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, it has that similar sound. Snare drums, it has actual middle strings on the bottom that create this kind of, I don't know, we'll call it a scratchy effect. Very, very similar to that. Absolutely.
Okay. Chad says, can Tony describe exactly which part of his fingers he is striking the strings with?
Yeah, I'll actually stand up and do a side view here, because it seems like something's happening because it's such a distinct sound. But really, again, my fingers are essentially assigned thumb to the A, index to the D, middle, G, ring, B. And what I'm doing when I come down is literally those fingers are going right back. There's nothing fancy. I'm not closing my hand or anything, but the thumb's certainly leading the way because that's the fattest of my fingers and it carries the most weight. So that's where I'm getting a lot of the percussion from. So hopefully that gives you at least a visual of what it looks like. And there's nothing fancy. And that's just one of the ways. Okay. It's not, there's a lot of different ways to do this. In fact, if you look at, I'm blanking on names. I know John Mayer's a big proponent of this style. Andy McKee does a lot of finger style stuff like this with this integrated slap rhythm. The approach may be different, but you're really you're trying to achieve that end result of tone. And if you get a good, solid, good, strong percussive beat, that's your goal. So however you do that, however you manage to do that, if it's identical to mine, great. If it's something a little bit tweaked, don't worry about it. There's no wrong or right here. That
was helpful for some people. But Fred wants to know, how do you ensure your fingers are landing right back on the correct string without fiddling around?
So that's a very, very good question. In fact, when I first started to try this, it ended up being something that looked like this. It was a pluck. I'd open my hand, I'd go like that, and then I'd pluck again, and you could see how much time that's going to actually take. It really takes your hand out of picking position. So what I would recommend is don't go way out and come back. Start with just kind of just practice muting them. Okay, so get that pluck in there, and then put the fingers right back down.
Can you do a close-up on that too?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So when you get that pluck, Don't go very far away. Just get those fingers right back down. It'll start to, you'll almost eventually develop what feels like a magnetic pull to where your fingers were on the strings. And from there, you can start to try and build a little bit more confidence, go further out, and then ultimately you'll get those fingers against the strings against the frets. But start out just quickly muting those, and then slowly increase the distance. It's going to take some time. I mean, this isn't something that you just flip a switch and it happens. So it's going to take some time to get the accuracy element. But as long as you know that basic technique and really baby step your way towards larger distances that you're pulling your hand away from the strings.
John's wondering if you can show slap strumming.
Slap strumming. I actually kind of use the same, let's see. Yeah, it's the same. It's very similar to this technique without the muting. Okay, so with this technique, we have totally dead, right? But with a slap strum, you kind of have. What ends up happening is my thumb is still taking care of the percussion, but my index and middle finger are strumming at the same time. So it's a little bit more intricate, certainly. You'll get that initial, I kind of do a thumb, strum, percussion, strum. It's a little bit more moving parts to that, but the whole idea is the same. And you'll hear too that the slaps, the percussion occurs on 2 and 4, which is a pretty common theme throughout, really whichever style you use. The most basic version of it anyway.
Okay. Is there a reggae version of that? I saw a couple of questions. I don't know if it was the same person or if just everybody's dying to know the reggae version of that.
It's a very reggae rhythm. I mean, I'm not the most, I'll say first off, I'll admit I'm not the most talented reggae rhythm player. Kind of that muted 2-beat thing. This is me thinking, guys, so just bear with me. Yeah, I guess that would be a way to play it. I'm not super confident on conveying that in a step-by-step process. So it's out there, but I would have to do a little bit more digging within my own brain to figure out the best way to convey that. It's a little bit of it's a little bit of a puzzle right now for me.
All right, so apparently there's some audio issues. Very sorry, everyone. Can't really fix it. Maggie's laughing.
I hear Maggie laughing.
What, do we sound like munchkins? Like what do you mean? Maggie, you have to give me the details on this now.
Are we all munchkins?
She's freezing up, so once she unfreezes.
Okay.
So Ian says, is there a good way to practice using the fretting fingers to mute?
Yes. In fact, that's a great question. If you take oftentimes when we are first introduced to bar chords, we find them very difficult and oftentimes quite useless. They feel like unnecessary strain and overall a pain in the butt. Okay, but bar chords actually open up a huge element of control over things that you can do rhythmically. So in terms of fretting with the fretting fingers, my first thought is a bar chord because you have control over every string. If it's almost like a button. If you push it down, you're going to get sound. If you lift up, you won't. So the most basic exercise that you can do is hold a bar chord, whatever's comfortable for you, whatever's easiest for you, and strum on the quarter notes. So just keep your right hand going 1, 2, 3, 4, but use your fretting hand to control when the sound comes out. So it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically keep your picking hand on autopilot and then use that fretting hand to really gain control over what's happening. Almost like it's really the ultimate in communication between your picking hand and your fretting hand. And of course, that's the most basic version. There's other there's a lot of different variations you can do, but really harnessing that is all about having control over every string. And the quickest way to get there is to, unfortunately, use a bar chord. So I just want to shed a little light on how amazing bar chords could be when you get them.
What we got some chuckling going on in the peanut gallery.
There is. There's
time for the...
It's time. It's we're here. We're as I mentioned. There's a lot of firsts. I know that we're having some technical issues. We're trying to certainly fix those. We do have thicker cables, which is really not interesting to anybody but Levi and I. But in addition to having Maggie kind of on, I think.
Yeah, she's going to be
cutting in and out,
sort of off for the time being. We'll try to get her back for the small win reports, but we may have lost her.
We may have totally scared her away.
No,
that's fine. We do have, for the first time in Tony's Acoustic Challenge history, I'll call them a contingent of guitar geeks whom gathered together to unite in complete guitar geekdom. And this really all started. I'm going to tell the story. I'm going to miss some details. I'm sure they'll correct me, and that's fine. So last year in June, we had the Jamboree. But just prior to planning the very first ever Tony's Acoustic Challenge Jamboree, this group of guitar geeks, TAC members, started talking frequently, planning for the trip and all sorts of things on live hangouts. And it was just a great way to get to know these people. And the Jamboree came, and it was like this reuniting of old friends. It's literally as if these people knew each other their entire lives, went about their ways, and then all of a sudden came together again, and were just catching up, just like old friends, like not missing a beat. So fast forward to today, this week, this same core group of TAC members decided to make a Bozeman trip. And as you know, TAC headquarters is located in Bozeman, Montana. And they descended upon Bozeman. They descended upon Bozeman from air, via boat, car, bicycle, and scooter. And they are all here together. I'm proud to introduce you to this wonderful group of TAC members, guitar geeks, people that I hold close to my heart and who actually are joining us live in the studio today. We have Mark, we have Jennifer, we have Kaylee, Trace, Bryson, Dom, Sharon, and Carol all here. And they are tuning in alongside here. You guys get a little vision of TAC headquarters there. And as I was talking about bar chords, I kind of gave Sharon a wink because we earlier this week, we had some fried meatballs. It was an amazing dinner that Sharon made for everybody. And we were talking about bar chords and just overall disdain and hatred towards bar chords. So that's why I gave her a little wink and a little glimpse into what they could actually do. They're pretty amazing little chords, but enough about the bar chords. These are pretty amazing people, and very, very happy to have them here today. It's been a delight to almost get a mini jamboree in before the big jamboree coming up in June, the second annual one. So, yeah, a lot of fun guitar geek talk. A lot of Uno playing happened. Kaylee happens to be the reigning champion, and I'm pretty sure she keeps a spare deck of Uno cards in her pocket to destroy anybody who challenges her to a game of Uno. There were guitars purchased during this trip. I won't get into the details. I'll let the forum handle that. You guys can, of course, snap pictures and post if you will. But I will say, anybody coming to the Bozeman area, if you guys happen to ever want to meet up or say, hey, please let me know. Shoot me an email. And of course, you almost have this obligatory trip to Music Villa. They love TACers stopping by. And please make sure to mention that you're with TAC, Tony's Acoustic Challenge, because there's certain kind of benefits that go
guitars?
along. Yeah, they don't necessarily give you free guitars, but guitars that might have been like, man, it'd be really nice to have that. They certainly grease the wheels and make it a little bit easier. So just keep that in mind. And as you'll probably see in future weeks, you'll hear about 3 or 4 separate stories of that happening just this very week alone. So that's that. It's the first time in TAC history we have a live studio audience, and when we pick, of course, the winner of the GS Mini for this month. I mean, I do that on every Hangout as I give away a free GS Mini. There's first of all a special process that we'll be going through for the first time ever, but you'll get real live claps from real live people, which I think is probably the biggest benefit from today's live Hangout is you will hear real claps. None of this pre-recorded stuff, none of this, fake claps. You'll get real ones from real people with real hands.
So Brian Santos says, "Oh my gosh,
it's true."
And then we've got Kirk saying hello, and John saying hi, and Stephen and Veronica say hello, wink, wink. Charlie says the Magnificent 8 people that you could visit. Emma says, hey, totally awesome seeing you guys. Terry says, wow, so cool. Dan says, hello, everybody. Better late than never, I guess. Maybe Dan showed up late, or maybe you guys just haven't been here for the first 32 Hangouts. I don't know what he's getting at.
Yeah.
Charlie says, very cool. Greg says, very cool. Glad to see them in the studio. Tessa says, hey, hello. Andrew says, wow, brilliant. Hi, guys. Emmeline says, wow, cool. I'd come if I weren't totally on the other side of the world. Stan says, hello, everyone. Charlie says, can you be there? Can you get there by snowmobile? That's valid.
I forgot there was snowcat travel involved as well. And I do have to say, Vic G is here in spirit. And I believe in the actual chat room. Vic was in on this trip, but had to leave early. So we did see Vic for fried meatballs and things of that nature. So that was he's definitely included in this group, and certainly here in spirit. He got a separate tour of TAC HQ because he needed to see it. Really, every TAC member needs to see it. I'm not saying all come at once, please. Just schedule your trips accordingly.
That's for June.
Yeah, that's for June. Correct.
Arva had to go. Says keep on rocking. Dane says hi all, and then we had. What do we call it? We refer to this as a transitionatory question, a
segue.
Segue.
Yeah, hard segue.
Mm-hmm. So, hold on. Where is it? Okay, Brett says, what does the note on the wall over Tony's left shoulder say?
Oh, I actually can't reveal what that note says. I can give you a hint. I'll actually, you know what? I'll show. I have a duplicate of what it is. Let me just put my guitar here down for a second. The note on the wall, it looks a lot like this. Okay. Looks a lot exactly identically like this. This might look familiar. It's a lot of profile pictures from different TAC members. These TAC members happen to complete all of February's practice plan. And we'll just leave it at that. I just wanted to keep you guys near and dear to my hearts. But that note on the wall has a special purpose, which you'll see towards the end of today. Because it just does have a special purpose. I can't reveal any more, otherwise I'll just let the cat completely out of the bag.
Okay.
Or should I?
No.
Oh, okay.
Hey, it's your show, man.
I have to keep an ace up my sleeve, much like Kaylee keeps a draw 4 in her pocket when we play Uno.
She keeps like 4 of them in her pocket.
Yeah. I know. It's highly frustrating.
Okay. And someone saw themselves on the sheet. Oh, that was Mark. Mark saw himself. Brett thinks that you should throw a dart at it.
I think that's a valid. I think that's a valid. Gosh, if I had some darts laying around, I might do that.
Okay, so something you'll think about while you're answering.
Yeah. I'll think of how to procure some darts.
All right, we'll get to some questions here, but do you want to maybe do some small wins, get those rolling?
Yeah, I would, because this is actually becoming one of my favorite parts of the live Hangout. Is I want to celebrate small wins with you guys. What is a small win? What is it even talking about? Well, for those of you who haven't done a live Hangout before, this is a section where I encourage you, prompt you, urge you with a strong urge to type in something that you experienced as a small win, a light bulb moment this last month. I think it's really important as I think as guitar players, we all have this common trait of focusing on the next thing that we want to learn. We learn something and quickly we put that to the side and focus on the next thing, which is great. We got to keep that forward progress. But every now and again, we should look back and celebrate these small wins that we achieved. I think it's crucial to maintain positive, and the small wins allow us to do that. So please, at this moment in time, I would urge you to type in the comments box. What small win did you experience this month? It could be something as small as, holy cow, I changed my strings for the first time. I had no issues. It's awesome. My guitar sounds amazing. It could be something as elaborate as I learned, the Beethoven 7th Symphony on guitar on the high E string alone. It could be, anything in between. I just wanted to be as explicit as possible, is that any win is celebrated here. Even if it's like, holy cow, I finally got a new guitar and I finally learned how to use my clip-on tuner. That's a valid small win. Sharon, do you have a small win that you want to share?
No.
Does it involve the F chord?
It might.
Does it?
I have mastered the F chord.
Sharon, who we've been discussing bar chords, has mastered the mini F, and that's a great example of a small win. So I encourage you guys to share the same digitally. Unfortunately, we couldn't fit all TAC members in here today, but this very select Prime group is here. So, Levi, any small wins coming through? Is Maggie with us? Or is she technically?
We're gonna try. This is all an experiment. We've 32 experiments in a row.
Yeah.
It's always an experiment, in other words. So there are tons.
Awesome.
Perhaps too many.
Oh my gosh.
Hundreds. So Maggie's gonna come on here, and if we've got bandwidth, she'll
sweet.
She'll
I all of a sudden turned into a ghost. I noticed.
Yeah.
Was it the white sheet of paper
you
that
gotta
I held
pick up your guitar if you prefer no ghostage.
Yeah, I'm gonna get out of the poltergeist mode.
Okay.
And come back to there we go. Whew, I feel that's a lot better.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, there we go. Let's give it a shot. So we're gonna go to Maggie real quick. Do you have some to rattle off?
I do. I'm not sure if I'm seeing hundreds. So, oh no, I do see a lot. Okay, so I'm experimenting.
do you have a handful? Yeah.
No, I've
Maggie.
got some. What?
Maggie, real quick. I just want to I want to give you a high five and welcome you to the hangout.
Dude.
Hold on.
We're not as
That's perfect right there. Yeah. Good to see you, buddy.
All right, we got some small wins coming up here. We got Lee. He is a newbie who can now play a few chords without hunching over his guitar. Not good for the back, that is. Greg completed his February practice schedule. Awesome, Greg. Good job. Paul played at an open mic for the first time. That's awesome. That's exciting. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we just muted to help you out, but maybe we'll just unmute and see if that works.
Thank you. All right, let me say a few more because there's so many good ones. Kirk has a small win. He started to get more diverse strumming into his practice. Lane managed half a decent bar chord for the first time.
Sweet.
That's good.
2 bar chord breakthroughs.
That's awesome. Let's see. Vic became a bit of a music theory teacher for a very good friend. That's awesome. Let's see. Do I have time for just a couple more? There's so many.
Yeah, go for it.
I say roll, Maggie. As long as you are connected and we can hear you, let's do it.
All right. I don't know that I can get everybody in. I'm sorry because there's so many. But let's see. John played every day since mid-January.
Holy smokes.
That's a great one. Let's see. Ivan looks like fret pressure lighter for better tone. So he was able to adjust his fret pressure a little bit. Fabulous. Ray has completed the February practice plan the first time in his 3-ish years with TAC.
Holy smokes.
That's cool. Very good job. And a couple more. Oh my gosh, there's so many. Let me go up here. Josh B. Chord transitions have improved drastically over the last month. Very nice. Shelly This is a good one. Ready? Shelly has a big win to announce. She signed up for TAC.
Oh, that's a great win. That's fantastic. Welcome to the crew.
All right, just a few more for you guys. Let's see. Paul says, minor victory. I got asked off the stage at my first open mic night. That I'd say thumbs up for doing an open mic night. We might have to hear more about this story.
Yeah, definitely a huge win to do an open mic.
I know.
And definitely when next time he does an open mic, just encourage a lot of TAC members to show up. And I can assure you that the host will be taken somewhere.
We would all love to play, Paul. Don't let that stop you. Go to another open mic. Let's see. And Chuck, let's do one more. His jaw stopped hurting, and he's learning to relax while playing.
That's actually a huge, and that sounds kind of, it's funny to hear that, but I know exactly what he's talking about because a lot of time we all have different places we hold tension, and the tenser we are as we play, usually the results aren't very desirable. So if he noticed the fact that he's able to let go a little bit and not clench his jaw while he plays, that's a huge victory. So congrats. And congrats to everybody. And gosh, Maggie, it was great to hear you read those.
Yeah, I wish I could get everyone's. My goodness, there's so many. You guys are awesome. Excited to see all of them.
It's incredible. I love, and I really want to encourage everybody that wrote ones in, as you see the comments go by on your webinar screen, please just read everybody's small wins. I think it's really cool to celebrate people's small wins with them, but also see, maybe a spot where you were and think back to, wow, I remember when I was there, or a spot to where you want to go and think, man, I can't wait till I can say that small win too. Either way, it's just a whole dose of positivity that I appreciate you guys participating in. Maggie, thank you for reading them. And Levi, what's it look like? What's it look like up there?
Well, she's not kidding. I mean, there are just so many comments. She might be able to come back for a second round of
okay
here in a bit.
Excellent.
Because you've got some questions rolling in.
Oh, great.
And also just a note. Oh, never mind. No notes. That's your little secret coming up.
Okay.
Let me get back to this other little thing here. I gotta find the question area. And there's a lot of those. Let's see.
As for those of you who don't know, Levi is the communications commander. He keeps the whole
really
thing rolling.
The expectations when you say things like
that. He's the communication aide. Is that not a commander?
The communication helper guy.
Yeah.
So David Nelson says, I have a question. I really hate having long nails. Drives me crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I have also tried finger picks, but did not manage to get used to them. So I'm reduced to finger picking with the balls of my fingers.
Okay.
Can one learn to pick properly like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, this is I'll say it's a pretty hot button topic because there's so many different ways to finger pick. You can use your fingernails. You can use the pads of your fingers, finger picks, thumb pick and finger picks. And I'll say that there's not one right way. It really depends on the tone that you're after. Finger picks give you probably the most articulate tone, as if each finger had a pick. I guess hence the name finger picks. I have a set here, but I'll just go ahead. I'll go through a couple different samples. If I'm going to pick with finger picks, you can dig in very hard. You get great volume and great string articulation. Very, very, very loud way to finger pick. And certainly if you're in a louder setting, a band setting or something like that, and you want to finger pick, it's a great option to have. That being the case, you can also use your fingernails, which, as you said, you hate having long fingernails. And I just busted my middle finger nail. Not my middle finger. That would be really bad. But you can also pick with your fingernails if you want to go that route. It's not necessary. It gives you similar articulation as the finger picks, but a little bit less volume. I usually recommend that for like a delicate approach, a very arpeggiated kind of approach, almost a harp-like approach. And then, of course, picking with your finger pads, which I think if you listen to if you listen to, Mississippi John Hurt, any of the old blues finger pickers, Mississippi John Hurt is the first one that came to mind because you get this really thumpy kind of fat single note tone. I'll try and you get a much more different timbre out of your instrument. It's going to sound has a much more richer quality. You pull at more of the mid range with the finger pads, so it's totally a viable option. Just know that you might have to sacrifice a little articulation if you don't want the fingernails, but the finger pads are totally awesome option and very often used. So I say go with it. Absolutely.
So Cam asked me to say, well, first of all, here's what Cam said. Feeling the frustration of the users having streaming issues, there's a video before the presentation that helped me a bunch. So thanks, Cam, for saying that. And yeah, there is a number of people having issues, and then there are also a number of people who have perfect audio and video. So very sorry if you are experiencing slower speed or something like that. It can happen, and sometimes it can be your computer or it can be your bandwidth. But be patient, and hopefully it'll get itself worked out. I just wanted to say that because we do get some comments. But Susan and Mike and Nate and Danny and Cam don't have any issues. So thanks for saying that. It's good to hear from both sides.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that said, we have this fantastic comment here from where did it go? Mike, and I don't know what he's getting at here, but I just thought I would mention it. Mike says, "Hey, Tony, can we see Maggie and just hear you?" I don't know. Maybe you know what he's...
I have no idea what he's talking about. Okay. So he wants to see me but hear Maggie? Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I should have brushed my hair before I came on today. I think that probably would have helped.
Melissa says, "Hey, Tony, for some reason I have the song YMCA stuck in my head. How are your dancing shoes coming along?"
A lot of hard work going into that.
Is that a reference to something?
It's a reference. I'll clear up the reference in case of those of you who don't know. There's you ever heard of the term dragging your feet on certain things? Some of you may have seen the ice bet that Ray and I shared. I am a hockey fan. I'm a huge Chicago Blackhawks fan. The Blues played the Blackhawks. Ray happens to be a Blues fan, and the wager was to run outside in the cold in shorts and a T-shirt. I lost the did it. Melissa, prior to that, she's a huge Washington Capitals fan, wrote 2 different songs, and we bet on a Capitals game. And if the Capitals won, I had to sing a song that she made for me. And if the Blackhawks won, she had to recite this song / poem that she had made. Well, the Blackhawks lost, and I had to sing that song. And, since Melissa is very confident in her Washington Capitals, as she should be, they're a great hockey team. I don't think they have what it takes to win the Stanley Cup or get past the first round for that matter, but that's a whole nother story. We bet on another Washington Capitals Blackhawks game. This was right after the new year. It's now March. And the bet was for me, if the Hawks lost, to dance to the YMCA. Now, this will happen. I can't necessarily say when, but it'll be before the winner of the Stanley Cup is celebrated this year. Let's just put it that way. So I have in my queue of bets that I have to, I have to dance to the YMCA in my shorts and in my Bandito socks.
Nice. Okay, so there's a lot of sporting references.
Okay.
Ray says "Go Blues." Seth says
killer win
LGB,
the other night.
Whatever,
LGB?
Yeah, that's probably a team or something.
Yeah. Can't
a sport involving a ball.
Can't think.
Melissa says "Go Caps." Chris says "Go Hawks."
Yes, I agree with Chris completely.
Mark says look for the Capitals against your Hawks in the finals this year.
I don't think it's going to happen, but I'll look.
Okay. Sheriff Dave says, "Hi, Tony. Just signing on, working graveyards and wasn't getting up at 11, but forgot you are Mountain Time." So Sheriff may have missed the crew.
Oh, well, first of all, welcome, Sheriff Dave. Thanks for tuning in. Sheriff Dave, I just wanted you to know that if you happen to catch the earlier part of this hangout, there is a live studio audience. Many of the folks you saw at the Jamboree are here, and Levi was walking over here, but he's walking back. You're gonna get a big hello from some folks you know. Sheriff Dave. There's everybody.
Hi, Dave.
Saying hi.
Hey, Dave.
And Dave, we miss you, but we know you're here in spirit, and of course digitally, because we have proof. You left a comment, which is awesome. Thanks for tuning in, Dave. I'm sorry to hear about the graveyard shifts, but hopefully that's a temporary thing. But if it's not, I can recommend strong coffee for the beginning, and then I have some great bourbons we can share when you come out for the Jamboree. I have some new items on my list that I want to share with you.
Okay, so there's tons more sports references.
Okay.
But Jackie would like to learn something, so I'm going to try to find let's start with this one. Mike D says, "Hi, Tony. I recently purchased a vintage guitar, a 1940 Martin Single 015. Do vintage guitars require extra or different care and maintenance? Also, it has a few nicks I attempted to treat with a wood marker. Bad idea? Thanks."
Yeah. So, with vintage guitars, I think it's important to just realize that guitars are actually pretty strong and pretty phenomenal instruments. They certainly can withstand a beating, but that being said, as time goes on, they are more prone to things. Old Martins. This is kind of it's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It's just a thing that you need to be aware of, is that, if the action's weird and there's not a lot of saddle left, it may be time for a neck reset. Occasionally braces can come loose and things like that, but it's all certainly fixable. One of the big things that I want to address with vintage guitars, and I think this is something that is a myth that I want to just dispel, is that, I think a lot of times there's a certain vibe that I get that there's a belief held that, because the guitar is old and it's seasoned, that there's no need to humidify it, which there are elements of truth to that. I'm not going to say that that's totally false, but I will say this: I have a 35 Single 017, and if I do not humidify it, it affects the playability. So, it's a fine line. It has to be humidified, otherwise I get fret buzz all over the place. So I would say still be very conscious of humidifying your instrument, even if it's old, even if it's seasoned. In regards to the nicks and things like that, I certainly am a huge fan of nicks and character on old guitars, but I could understand why it would drive a certain type of player crazy, which is totally understandable, especially the prices of some of the vintage instruments. But as far as treating them with any sort of paint or wood marker or anything like that, I would steer clear of it. Not in the sense that it's going to look bad. Obviously, if the color match is there, it probably looks okay. But certain products can contain silicones, which is really bad for the finish. Or can be really bad for the finish. So, if you ever were looking to get the guitar refinished and it's been treated with any sort of silicone type product, the finish, nitrocellulose lacquer, has a very hard time adhering to that. So it could cause issues in that realm. But I wouldn't get too worried about anything that you did to it. It's probably fine. But just know that be very aware. Any guitar with a nick or anything like that, even in terms of polishes, just be aware that if it contains any silicone type product, that it can mess with future refinishings or maybe even get under the finish. So just be aware of that. But it sounds like you picked up an awesome guitar. I'm excited to see it. I want to say that I saw a picture of it on the forum, and I want to say it was between two older mahogany Martins, but I could be confusing another story. Anywho, congratulations.
So Brian Santos has, I think, a pretty good question here. Fast bluegrass type strumming, is there a technique for staying loose enough to accomplish it?
Yes. Let me get my, I just want to show off this pick. This is probably the coolest pick I've ever seen. It's straight from Oklahoma. Is that correct? Yeah, this is a unique, rare, one of a kind Oklahoma pick, and it sounds killer. And I really like the way it sounds. It just kind of picks through the strings, and I love it. So, Trace, huge things. But in terms of as you speed up strumming, I think it's really important to understand that you can't get it all. meaning, rhythms like are really only useful to a certain degree, because if you try and speed that alternating bass rhythm up, it gets to a point where it kind of sounds uneven and odd. So that being the case, there's a kind of a delayed strum that I'll use for faster situations. It's the 1, 2, and 3 and. So it's bass, strum, up, down, up. Bass, strum, up, down, up. I'll do that a little bit closer so you can see. So it's bass, strum, up, down, up. Bass, strum, up, down, up. I think it's really important to realize that the faster you go, the more that you're probably going to have to get rid of. You're going to go to more simple rhythms. In this case, this allows me to get that kind of... So that's one tip that I have, is kind of reduce and remove some of the extra rhythmic stuff. It's, the faster you play, the more you're going to have to get rid of. But also, you'll notice that I pull my hand back towards the saddle a lot, which I don't normally do when I strum. Usually I strum over the sound hole. But the pick has a tendency to kind of slog through the strings in the middle. There's more buoyancy, there's more flexibility to the strings right here. Whereas closer to the saddle, they're a lot tighter. They feel tighter against the pick, which allows the pick to go through them a little bit faster. So that's kind of a hidden benefit of pulling your hand back towards the saddle. You experience less drag with the pick, I guess is kind of an easier term to latch onto. So simplify the rhythm and then move your hand position to where the strings are feeling a little bit more tense.
Okay, so it's coming up on the top of the hour.
It is?
Yeah, it is.
Holy cow.
Time just flies.
I know. It flies like a dart through the air, Just launches like a dart right through the air.
This guy. So how about a speed round of 3?
Okay.
And then Maggie's got another batch.
Sweet. And I have an announcement too.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
And and there's special events coming up.
Yeah.
TAC Olympics, first year.
Okay.
First time.
Fantastic. So Mark says, does the sweet spot move when changing strings from a bright phosphor bronze material to a mellow silk and bronze material?
Certainly it will. I think you'll experience a different spot where, back here where the strings are nice and clear, and back here where the strings are a little bit more mellow. Depending on string material, that it'll change slightly, but I think the general places you'll experience similar. That brightness by the saddle, the dullness over the sound hole. There might be subtle variations, but overall it shouldn't change too much.
All right, Mike L has a question. When should one change their strings? Change them all at once or one at a time?
I would recommend changing them all at once. And it really depends. This is such a tough question to answer because everybody's different. I like elixir strings because they're coated. They last a long time. I play my guitars frequently, so I change my strings about once every 2 to 2.5 weeks. Especially if I'm giving a guitar particularly a decent workout or if I have a lot of gigs. But I once a month, once every 2 months, it really depends on how much you play it. Also, you have to factor in your chemistry. Literally, as you perspire when you play, there's certain, chemical compounds in your sweat. This obviously isn't an official scientific answer, but I know for me, I have apparently acid sweat that destroys strings. So it really depends on how you play, where you play. If it's a humid environment, your strings are going to corrode much quicker. If you perspire a lot, your strings will corrode much quicker. So roughly once a month, once every 2 months if you don't play too often. But I like keeping new strings on the guitar. I think it makes the guitar sound the best, and certainly feels good under the fingers as well.
Mitchell says, is pulling your hand nearer to the saddle good for flat picking?
Absolutely. I think anybody that's having difficulty with speed or consistency in how they pick or how the pick interacts with the strings, if you pull your pick back towards the saddle, I'm exaggerating here, but the strings are much more difficult. They feel tighter because, obviously in the middle, they're going to be very movable, very flexible. And as you get closer to a null point, a point where they're actually anchored, it's going to be tighter. But use that tightness to your advantage because it interacts with the pick much differently, and you can actually get a much faster release and attack. So I'd say, if you're flat picking and you're feeling like you're hitting the speed, the speed limit, try and pull your hand back towards the saddle. I think you really like how the pick interacts with the strings and also the tone as well.
Next up on the lightning round from Kurt. In the same vein of Dave's question, my nails keep splitting. Any recommendations for alternatives or strengthening?
Strengthening, I know that there is nail hardener out there, and I'm actually about to try some for the first time because I broke my thumbnail a month ago, and I just can't get it past a certain length, and I'm really sad because my thumb is usually my strongest fingernail. I don't know what's going on. But, there's nail hardener. It's just a clear coat that you can use. But as far as training your fingernails, I would say use them as much as you can. I don't know if obviously there's no muscular elements to fingernails, but I think the more you use them, maybe the harder that they get. I don't know if that's true, but certainly you just get used to using them and how they interact with strings and how to limit wear. I would say if you can, try and hit the strings squarely if you're using your fingernails, as that will limit any sort of nicks and tears and things you can get in your fingernails.
Dennis asks, Tony, have you tried the new Thalia Rosewood picks yet? Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah.
And also Go Blackhawks.
I agree with that. As far as those Thalia picks, I have tried them. They sent me some to give a whirl, and I really wasn't impressed by them. I'm not saying that they're bad. I think picks are completely, up to the player. The picks that I love, some people might hate, but what I noticed with the Thalia picks is that they have a flex built in that actually ended up slowing me down, and the material, I felt like it got caught on the strings because I pick with that downward angle on a downstroke and the upward angle on an upstroke. I felt that there was a lot of friction points to where it felt like it slowed me down and it impacted the tone. So for me, it was a no-go, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't try them out, because for some people it might be the exact thing that they're looking for. Especially if you have a bright guitar, I could see how that it would mellow the guitar out or the tone out. So, if you have them locally or if you're thinking about ordering them, give it a whirl, but just know that they have a little bit of flex. The material, it does grab onto the strings in a different way than like a plastic or a Delrin or Ultex pick does. And just experiment away. It's a cheap experiment, that's for sure.
Craig says, can you discuss starting with nylon strings and then transitioning to steel strings?
Yeah, I think one of the beautiful things about nylon string, and actually Carol and I were talking about this the other night, was there's a dark, full, thick tone that you can pull out of a nylon string guitar that it's really you can't get out of any other type of instrument. It's a very unique sound. It's almost like these I don't know. I picture fat notes coming out of the guitar. It's just a weird brain thing that I have. But in terms of transitioning, I would say, first of all, know that, a steel string guitar has considerable amount more tension than a nylon string guitar. A nylon string guitar, I think I read at some point, it has about 30 pounds of tension, whereas a steel string has anywhere between 70 and 90, depending on what strings you're using. That's complete guess, but just to illustrate the difference. So in terms of hand feel, it's going to feel completely different. Any bends or anything that you do on a nylon string guitar are going to feel completely different on a steel string guitar. Another thing to consider too is that nylon strings generally have a wider nut width. There are exceptions out there. Generally speaking, though, they have a wider nut width and a larger string spread down by the saddle. So keep that in mind as well in terms of just differences. And then lastly, please do factor in changing strings, because changing strings on a nylon is a different animal altogether than a steel string. It's not impossible. It's very possible. You just have to learn how to do it. But certainly comparing the two, steel strings are much easier to change strings than a nylon. But I will also encourage you to strongly consider both, because they're equally valid, awesome instruments. It's just a matter of what tone you're looking for and what tone you want to mess with for the day.
Okay, Tony Polecastro, I'm going to lob a one up for you.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm just going to smash it quickly because
Now,
this is a speed round.
This is one of those transitionatory
Oh,
questions.
yes.
So perhaps you can go into your announcement, and then we can go over to Maggie for a little lightning round.
Absolutely. This is. I'm ready to go through a metamorphosis.
All right. So Russell says, Tony, do you have a lesson on chord tone soloing in your program? And
wow.
Is that something you use in lead playing?
Well, I must say,
couldn't be better, right?
It is. It's just an underhand lob, and I'm sitting at the plate with my aluminum bat or whatever the guys use on the field. Nice. I'm ready to just hit a grand slam, just like that.
That was like a hockey.
Yeah, just kind of pre-programmed. Yeah, can you read the question one more time? I want to make sure I answer it.
Yeah, Tony, do you have a lesson on chord tone soloing in your program? Okay. And is that something you use in lead playing?
Let me first say yes, absolutely. It's something that I use in lead playing. And let me follow that up with this wonderful question. It's just a very timely question because last week, Levi and I had an entire week of getting to the office at about 7:00, which is relatively standard fare. But this was the kind of like you get here at 7 and you start filming right away. So lots of filming happened last week. And within all those filming sessions, a theory course sprouted. A theory course sprouted out of those filming sessions and will address many of the questions, not only chord tone soloing, but many of the questions surrounding that. Where do the chord tones come from? How do you generate them? Where does the major scale come from? How do you create a major scale? And things of that nature. So let me say that you'll be very, very happy in the coming month-ish. Yeah, I'll say monthish, because that very question will get addressed in elaborate detail. And I think I have to leave it at that. Is that a fair place to leave it?
That's fair. I'll add that starting the building the production of this course, I didn't know anything about guitar theory, and I feel pretty confident in my knowledge now. So it's really exciting because everybody wants to feel like they understand the stuff and understand how it all goes together. So if you can take a drummer in a few days and get them to fully understand the guitar and the fretboard, I think everybody's going to love it. I'm excited.
I'm very excited, and I did fail to mention that I am extremely excited for this course because theory is a topic that has been asked about. I mean, it will be asked about until years and years and years and years, pretty much forever, because it is such a it feels like such a scary thing. It feels like something that is just it's like by virtue of magic, all of a sudden you just learn theory and you just figure all this stuff out. And in a way, that's true. But I think a lot of times it's you get hung up on all of the little minutia, and the way that this theory course is presented is literally to take somebody that is either scared of theory or doesn't know anything about theory, or maybe doesn't even know that they want to know anything about theory, and walk you through a process to where by the end you're thinking, holy cow, I actually can put this stuff together in a real world situation. I think a lot of times theory can be more a book focused and academic, whereas this is a much more applicable version of it. So I'm super excited to bring this to you guys, and I just can't wait for you guys to dig into it because I'm just super pumped. I really am. I pumped, excited. I am anxious, the good kind, where you can't wait.
Yeah. Oh, I'm with you.
That kind.
So Tony,
tell me, Levi,
do you want to give a guitar away after Maggie does a lightning round of quick wins?
Levi, I'm really glad you asked me that question because I can't wait to hear Maggie's report on quick wins. And yes, Levi, of course, I would love to give away a GS Mini with a mahogany top.
Okay. You were saying something. Is there something special about this one? Have you given one of these away?
I have.
Or was that last month's?
Was it last month's?
Totally unique.
Well, Levi, to be honest, we've given a lot of GS Minis away.
Yeah.
We've given away standards, Koas, mahogany topped,
it's
rosewood
back
like
over
sides.
20 now.
Probably somewhere around. No, not quite 32.
Yeah.
Has it been 32?
I don't think.
But let me just say that we're going to give one away today after Maggie's small wins.
Yeah, we're just waiting for her to pop on here. And maybe while we're waiting for that, I don't know. Oh, there she is.
Hi.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Hey, guys.
Maggie, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah. How was your trip? Yeah.
Good.
Good.
The doorbell rang. The dogs started barking. Someone really wanted to talk to me at the front door, and
Yeah. Paparazzi.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. I get it.
We figured out a way to get my little screen off the bottom of the corner of the computer screen, so people don't have to watch me watching you the whole time, because that was a little odd, awkward. Okay, I've got some small wins for you guys. I tried to get everybody, but I'm sorry if I missed anybody. Let's see. Todd practiced and played every day since he joined TAC about a week ago.
Fantastic.
Ian's is funny. Ian says I can pick. I'm assuming he means, flat picking or finger picking. But then he says, so my nose is getting a rest. So thumbs up. That one, Ian. Andrew says small win. We met Maggie. Aw, thanks, Andrew.
That's a great win.
Aw. Paul is now playing saxophone. That's awesome. I hope that's in addition to guitar, of course.
I would encourage Paul to go to the backing track and please submit a solo, because I want to see that.
That's a great idea. Do it, Paul. We want you to do that for us. Let's see. HUD has a small one. Doing the practices without looking at the fretboard or the picking area. Sean posted his small one. If people haven't seen it yet, he's played enough over the month of February to require a string change. Speaking of string changes, Dan managed to get here before the hangout was over. Julie has a small win. Curled fingers without fret buzzing. I guess she's the fret buzzing is decreasing for her, which is awesome. Andrew, by signing up for the Jamboree, decided to learn to play with others, which is awesome. Amazing. Chad, I resisted GAS, guitar acquisition syndrome, for anyone who doesn't know, telling me to buy a new guitar and paid my property taxes instead. David Martin completed, I'm assuming it's the practice plans for January, February, and the finger picking intro that Tony has on the site. David Martin, again, saw Tommy Emmanuel in Burlington, Vermont. Oh, man. He was just in Philly recently, too. I wish I could have seen him play. So awesome. Regina started learning some Delta blues techniques. Bruce finally learned 2 scales and can play them all the way up the neck. Learned how to connect the scales in different positions. And I'm just going to keep going. I have a few more because there were so many good ones. David had a major breakthrough on flat picking. Accuracy improved so much in the last week. John plucking up the courage to post some solo performances over on the forums, which is awesome. I still haven't posted a solo performance myself, so I need to do it. John, you're an inspiration to me. They make me nervous. Okay, a couple more lightning round. Nate, small win, finally getting calluses back on my fingers. David Martin again had a lot of small wins. Don't think twice using Travis picking. Dave got my new D35E retro. Charlie got a metronome and it helped me time a song I sent to TAC this week. Big loss. Charlie's GS Mini cracked. Ugh. But small win, found a luthier who makes very cool guitars who will fix it. And last but not least, Ian had to sing and dance the YMCA in front of a theater full of people after being dragged out of the audience. Well done, everybody. That's awesome. Well, if you're talking to me, I can't hear Tony.
Audience, it's crazy.
Oh, sorry. That's, of course, nobody could have.
I had a feeling you
turned his mic off. I'm sorry.
Am I back now?
You're back.
Oh, I was just saying that makes my bet with Melissa seem like small potatoes because it's not a live theater that I have to do the YMCA in front of.
I know. You're just gonna have to maybe find a big group of guitar lovers and post it on the interwebs so many more people can see you.
I think we can manage that.
All right, guys.
Maggie, huge thank you for posting those, or for not posting those, reading those posts. I think I just zoned out there for a second.
Hey, so maybe we could get a little feedback on Maggie reading the small wins this month. Is that something that you guys think would be cool to do more? Yeah, we have some claps over here.
I've got a full live studio audience here that thinks so, but I want to hear from the digital audience as well.
Okay, the digital audience is delayed a little bit.
Okay.
So we'll wait to hear from the digital audience. Do you
not to discount the live approval?
And also for new members who might not know this, Maggie sends out the Thursday email, and so now you can kind of connect the person with the face.
Yeah.
All right. So do you want to give the scoop on the mystery item behind
you? I do. So you guys, I posted a bulletin on my background here. It's a bulletin. It's really like a TAC yearbook, but we'll call it like a month book. And we'll call it, basically this month book consists of the profile pictures of everyone who completed the practice plan for the month of February. Every person that completed the practice plan for the month of February is on here. And let me first say, these are some fine looking people. There's some fine looking people here. And I'm excited about this. I do see some people without profile pictures though. And I'm concerned because one of the prerequisites to winning the guitar is you have to have a profile picture. So that concerns me, but there's a lot of pictures on here, which brings me back up. Second, we thought to ourselves today, how are we going to pick this GS Mini winner? We have all these people that completed February's practice plan, and they're here collected in this little bundle. And usually I have my magical record bowl. I cut the names into strips, which requires generating a report. That particular report wasn't working this morning. So we went on the badge page, snapped a shot of all these people, and thought, gosh, it's going to be weird to cut all these up in little circles and pick little circles out of a bowl. But what better way to show love for TAC members than to put everybody that's completed the practice plan in the month of February on a piece of paper, attach it to a wall, and throw a dart at it to pick the winner. So here on my music stand, I've got to find, this is a performance level red dart. You can see it's true. It doesn't move at all when I spin it. It's straight as an arrow, with a nice pointy tip. And since I'm not going to pick this one, this one's really bent. This one looks way better. Since we have a live studio audience, I thought, I don't want you guys to think this is rigged. So I'm gonna hand over my dart wielding powers to one of these fine studio members, live studio audience members, because they're all fine dart players. I think we have the dart champion from 1947 here in the house. We have so
that rules out a few people.
We have the world dart champion of 2014 here, Bryson. Congratulations. And also the women's national dart team is here as well. So you guys are in good hands. Does anybody have an overwhelming urge to throw the magical dart? Dom. We've got a lot of fingers pointing at Dom.
Yeah, there's a lot of Dom. Yeah.
So we're going to go with Dom. Dom, TAC member Dom, is going to throw the dart. And here's the deal. If Dom misses the target, we'll just get a new thrower because we obviously have to kick him out. If he hits a profile picture or a picture that is profile pictureless, we have to do a redo. So Dom, step right up. I'll show you where the line is. The line is the edge of the rug here. My custom Martin tuxedo is in firing range, so please just keep that in mind.
No, we're moving. Now.
Yeah, we probably.
I did beat the New Jersey State champion at English darts one time.
You did. What's it now? First, let's. What is English darts? What are English darts?
It's the round board that
Mhm.
has black and yellow and red and
Okay.
green.
Oh, okay.
It's got 3 rows. And
But it
there's
wasn't a
cork in the middle.
But
and
it wasn't a
screen in
dart board full of faces.
Occasionally
So
there was.
So you technically have no experience with an event like this.
Well, not exactly. No.
Okay.
This is not a.
So
This is a happy event.
What I'm asking is, since you completed February and your picture is on there,
Yeah,
you can't technically find your picture and dial it in.
No, I saw it.
Okay. So are you aiming for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't mean I'll hit.
Well, you can't. Yeah. Whoa. After this, we're going to the bar to play darts.
No, I have no.
No.
I have no idea where this is. I have no idea where it is.
Okay.
I could even do a blindfolded if you.
No, please. There's a lot of guitars around. Dom, let it rip. I mean, the dart. The dart.
Meatballs, remember?
Let the dart take flight.
All right.
Oh.
That didn't stick, and it also made a hole in the paper. However, that hole was not on a profile picture.
Oh,
So I need another dart thrower.
next up.
Somebody that throws the dart really hard.
Have we tried to see if it actually sticks in this wood?
Well, yeah. To be fair to Dom, we haven't tested this. We don't even
Yeah.
know if the dart sticks. So you know.
But
But-
throw harder, or you want somebody else?
Let's Levi, you really are the officiant here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's pull someone else up.
Yeah,
Sure,
yeah,
let's
yeah.
get, because we can use the hole. Even if it doesn't stick, we can
Okay.
see where the hole is.
Okay,
Kaylee.
Okay, we're gonna give Kaylee a try.
Kaylee gives a shot here.
That
was a
okay.
direct miss.
Everybody wins now.
That was a direct miss. It's a good thing we moved the guitars. As I mentioned before, these are professional level darts with very sharp tips.
So Mike L, seems like Mike L has some wood experience.
Yeah.
Says that a dart into hardwood probably isn't going to be the easiest thing.
Okay.
So maybe next time we'll refine this.
Yeah, this is the this is the first. This is one of the first. Trace is up next. Dexter Keats, or 1973. You guys may know him as. Trace just sharpened it. Oh!
That looked great.
Unfortunately, it didn't go into a picture.
Okay.
I know the suspense is killing you guys.
Cam, we were discussing putting a dartboard behind it.
Trace,
But then
I
Trace
think
made
Trace
it
gets
stiff.
another shot. Now it's really sharp. Did we get a hole?
I think if we had a potato.
Okay, Trace,
Darts
well,
would
I
be
think-
sharp if you stick them in a potato.
So,
I think it's,
So this is going well.
this is guys. This is all part of the plan, obviously.
All right. One more crack, and then I'm gonna do it again.
Okay, Dom's up.
Mark, you want to give us a shot?
Time's up. Should we put it on the dartboard,
Yeah, well, Jen was gonna do that.
Yeah.
Give me one more shot at it.
guys? We're gonna make a quick adjustment here.
Bob says it's almost time for next month's hangout.
So guys,
Do you have a dartboard?
let me just explain.
We might be able to hang it.
Let me just explain that this was a true emergency measure because the report really didn't run this morning. So this is a first, a true first. Levi has a hammer in his hand. We have a nail on the wall.
Sure.
I'm just gonna go like this.
Okay, here you can use the.
We'll just hang that dartboard. I'm really glad everybody can witness this. Perfect. Okay.
You might want to nail that in more.
You think it's today would be the day where it would fall down. Okay. Okay. So far so good. I need my other dart. Guys, I really appreciate your patience here. Where's just going to go like this.
Mike L mentions that he's not sure that the dartboard will help because that requires hitting the paper still.
Oh, that's good. Did I lose the other? Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. Now we're going to just redo the order. Dom?
Yep.
There's a bullseye under there somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. That help us all.
Oh, my gosh.
That's looking really good.
Right in between.
It's right in between two pictures. Dom, please do us one more favor.
All right.
I think it hit the bullseye, though.
It did. That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh, it's not a. Is it a person?
We got it. It's a person. Levi, official.
Yeah. So I think since this will take a minute because we have to match it up. Now we have to look at it and see who.
Okay, guys.
Oh.
Just want to show you.
The color version.
We're right here. Right here between two faces. We have a darker profile picture. So if you have a darker profile picture,
yeah, we're gonna find
the
this.
lighting was poor, maybe.
Okay, Maggie. So Maggie has while I'm trying to locate this particular profile pic, Maggie has one more quick win.
Okay.
That she wants to report. And so,
Yeah. Can everybody hear me? Test.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. It looks like I missed one person, so I apologize. But Jeff has a really big win. He wanted us to report. And it looks like Jeff got a new Dean Exhibition guitar.
Nice. Congratulations. That's fantastic. New guitars are viable small wins, by the way. There's 4 small wins sitting next to me right here.
Also,
actually,
have you,
5.
Tony, I'm sure you guys talked to the crew there about their trip to Music Villa, and they had a whole slew of small wins
Yeah, we'll call those.
some guitars.
I guess that's a kind of internal dialogue now, is that you can just say, you can come home to your significant other and say, honey, I had a great small win today. And they'll have no idea what the hell you're talking about. And actually, you'll be able to walk in the door with a guitar.
Totally. Let's do another high five. High five.
I can't. We had this down. There we go. Boom.
Yes. Boom.
Levi, you found the winner?
Yeah. I just
Awesome.
wanted to confirm with you that this person hasn't. Okay. All right. Leo M is the winner.
Leo M.
Yes.
Leo M. Let me look at the.
The name sounds familiar.
Leo M.
Leo M.
Leo M. In California.
California.
This
Awesome.
is fantastic.
Anybody? Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So
announce that my mic was off. So announce that again.
So yeah. Oh, guys, it's just the day of follies. Well, Leo M has won the GS Mini. So congratulations, Leo M. And let's just give him another round of applause. Can we do that, guys? Congratulations, Leo M. Dom, great aim. Great aim.
Thanks, Leo. I get it 6 months.
And is that it for today?
I believe that concludes.
So we now have a dartboard in the TAC offices. By next month, we're going to be really good.
We're gonna have this really dialed in.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me first thank the live studio audience for being here. Guys, thank you for being in Bozeman. Thank you for being TAC members. You guys totally rock. And I look forward to some more guitar picking and talking later. And
Jeff wants the code.
The code.
He's asking about the code.
Whew. If to say that we are on target today,
whoa, that's a pun,
is a complete understatement. Okay. So you guys want to get your points. There's now 2 places that you can enter the code, one or the other. It doesn't have to be both. You can enter the activity code on the homepage at the bottom or on the live page. There's now a spot there as well. The code for today is March Mad 32. No spaces, all lowercase. March Mad 32. MARCHMAD 32. because it's the 30-second hangout. I had to start incorporating that because a lot of hangouts, a lot of experiments, a lot of experimentation. So, again, live studio audience, thank you so much.
Who's a part of the studio audience?
Well,
who's actually in the studio.
We have Mark Young, we have Carol M, we have Sharon T, we have Dom T, we have Bryson N, we have Trace N, Dexter Keats, and 1973, and a plethora of other names. We have Jennifer N, and we have Kaylee N, who's hidden right now. She's probably practicing Uno, I'm sure. She's the only one that can card count in Uno, and it's a feat that I can't even fathom. So again, thank you guys all for being here, taking time out of your Bozeman trip. Levi, you got something?
March Mad 30, the number 32, all lowercase. Is this correct?
March Mad 32,
lowercase. Okay, I'll put that in a sticky there. And also, there was something that no, maybe not.
No.
Oh, yeah. Someone wanted you to reiterate what the code is for.
Oh, yes. The code is for you to get a fancy new badge for your badge collection, but also collect the points associated with that badge, because we appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us, to interact, celebrate your small wins, learn some guitar stuff, and overall just be a guitar geek.
And it helps you remember which ones you actually saw.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you thought, man, that one was really cool, you can just go back to your badges and figure out which one, and you can even watch the replay in the archive if you want.
Yep, and you just put the code in on the live page.
Mm-hmm.
And Bob's your uncle.
Bob is your uncle.
I think we're all covered on this end. Everybody, I can tell, had a great time. They
Well,
loved Maggie being on.
Awesome.
The answers were they all voted definitely to
Sweet.
do that more. So yeah.
Well,
awesome.
Thank you to everybody who took time out of your day today. Today was filled with firsts. It was filled with experiments. Some extremely successful, some mildly successful. I just really want you to know that I appreciate you being a part of the community. I appreciate you being here and participating in this. I look forward to seeing you on next month's Hangout. We'll do another guitar workshop, give another guitar away. The dart skills will be top notch. And everybody have a great rest of the day. Have an awesome month. Remember to do your daily challenge. If you miss a day, don't worry about it. Just pick up right on the current day. Don't spend time beating yourself up. Spend that time that you want to beat yourself up and go ahead and put that in a guitar, and it'll be a beautiful day. So have a great rest of the day. Have a great rest of the month. I'll see you guys next month. If you have any questions, email me. I'll see you on the lessons. Rock and roll. Rock in the free world. Peace, love, and music. And giddy up, folks. Thanks, guys. See you later.